Hey y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to From My Vanity and welcome to a new view. I'm in a different filming room because my husband is on overnight, so he is sleeping upstairs, and the area that I get ready in the morning and that I record my videos on is right next door to his room, so I don't want to be waking him. I actually really don't mind the view. I think it's kind of pretty besides my daughter's easel. Looks very nice, but I know it's very echoey, so I apologize for that. The room is just rather large, empty, only a small carpet, so sorry. I'll fix it as much as I can post-recording when I go to edit this video together. But all that to say, let's just get into what this video is about, and it is a collab video with Amy or DollyMamaBeauty here on YouTube. So I've been following Amy for quite a while now. I feel like I found her through Samantha March. I could be mistaken, or maybe she was just started commenting on my videos and I checked out her channel, something along that lines. I have a horrible memory, Amy, so I apologize that I don't remember, but I do remember that it was fairly early on in starting my YouTube channel, and she's been watching my videos and I've been watching hers. Oh, you know what? I think I might have found her during her Winter Olympics, I think is what she called it. She did a kind of year-round or roundup of yearly favorites at the end of last year, and she called them Winter Olympics or something Olympics, but she did them with her little daughter. It was so cute. Definitely recommend checking those videos out. I loved watching them. The daughter's adorable, but I think that's how I found out her videos. I can't remember. But anyway, I've been following Amy for some time, and recently she asked if I would want to do a collab video with her, and I said, of course, I would love to, and she suggested the underrated, overrated makeup tag that Georgia Harris and Biohazardous Beauty, I always say Biohazard Beauty, but it's Biohazardous Beauty. They created this tag, and she's been wanting to do it. I've been wanting to do it, so I was like, that's perfect. Let's do it. Yeah, let's just jump right into the questions because there's a lot. All right, I played around with my lighting because I felt like I was looking really orange. I hope I didn't make myself look worse, but we're just gonna roll with it. First question, they're not really questions, but they're just categories, and then you share your overrated and underrated opinions in that category. So the first category is makeup brands. What is my overrated makeup brand? I think I'm gonna go with Colourpop. I think Colourpop, it has really good products, but I think they're overrated and just overhyped because they're always coming out with products, so everyone's always talking about them, but everyone kind of talks about them as being super affordable, and they're not really that affordable. Like, every release just kind of keeps inching up and up. They kind of started at the $5 range, and I felt like they stayed there for a long time, and then in the last year or so, they started doing $6 and $7 and $8, and it's just like creeping up, and they just released a foundation that's less than an ounce. It's like 0.8 ounces for $12, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure Maybelline's, at Walmart especially, but I think even at Ulta, Maybelline's foundations are like $9.99 or something like that. So they're more expensive than like Maybelline, which, not gonna lie, irked me a lot when I found that out. I was like, seriously, you can't even just do a full ounce, even for $12. Even that'd be a little high, but at least it would just be the standard 1 ounce. But to give less than an ounce for $12, that really irked me, if you can't tell. For underrated though, I definitely have to give it to number 7 as a brand. I just feel like they have really good products. I've tried a lot from them. I am on their PR list, so I've been able to try a ton of products from them. And while there are misses, as I think every brand has their misses, I have experienced more hits than misses, and a lot of their hits have become like really favorite products of mine. Like their setting powder, I love that powder for setting my under eyes. They have a great bronzer I love. Their blushes are really, really nice. So yeah, number 7 definitely needs more love here on YouTube. Next is makeup brand collaborative, and for overrated, I definitely say the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Vault. Probably because it's the most recent release that's just been all over the place, but honestly, I do feel like it's a little overrated. All the deception that seems to be going around with this collaboration is really concerning. Like, it's very frustrating to hear these things that maybe Jaclyn's saying one thing, maybe Morphe's saying one thing. They are constantly putting blame on other people, but at the end of the day, like, I keep reminding myself, it's a $15 eyeshadow palette. It's not supposed to be like Natasha Denona level or Colourpop Cosmetics level when it comes to the quality, which I understood going in. I knew I was paying $15 for that little palette, which honestly I preferred, and the colors just spoke to me so much. Like, if that palette didn't have all those yellows, oranges, and a green, I wouldn't have got it. I would have just passed over it. And just the whole collection had too much drama, but because that palette spoke to me so much, I did want to scoop it up because there are not enough palettes on the market with that orange, yellow, and green color story that I am just so into right now. I just get so tired of all the drama with Jaclyn Hill, and she just doesn't seem, at least in my experience, everything I've seen, she just doesn't seem like a very trustworthy person. So honestly, that's probably why I think the collaboration is overrated, because I don't see Jaclyn Hill as just the most amazing beauty YouTuber that I follow. I don't follow her actually, but just in my experience with following her collaborations, because they're just so hyped up, and just I've watched her snaps on and off, especially around the release time and stuff like that, or when a bunch of drama's going on. I watch those. It's just, she's always saying one thing and then another thing comes out. It's a struggle for me to trust her. So I'll leave it at that. Let's just move on. I just think that that collaboration was way overhyped, and I'm just kind of over the drama. For under, I didn't really have a specific one, but I chose the Smashbox and Casey Holmes collaboration because I feel like not a whole lot of people talked about that. There wasn't any drama, so maybe that's why not a whole lot of people talked about it, but I thought her highlighter palettes were really nice. I didn't bring any of my makeup down here, so I'm sorry I'm not showing you any products that I do have. I think that her palettes and her collaboration was really nice. It was very calming. You know, there wasn't any drama with it. The quality of the highlighters was fantastic. I like that there were two different options for pearl and gold. And yeah, I just thought that was a really nice collaboration that not a whole lot of people talked about it, especially not like after the big hoopla of like, oh, she's coming out with a collection. I definitely think that one was underrated. The next is makeup releases, overrated. I struggle with this one, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to the new Milani eyeshadow palettes that came out. They just released two. One was cool tone, one was warm tone, and I was so bored with that launch. They tried to give it like a big hoopla, a big reveal, like a new palette is coming. I got excited because I was hoping for something fun and different, but one, they both kind of look like one of the other palettes. Like, they have two palettes out already, and like if you laid all four of them out together, there's not a whole lot of difference between them. Like, that's how similar and how boring they were. And two, like, the colors in each of the palette, the warm tone and the cool tone palette, were very close together. Like, you couldn't create too many different looks with it. I don't know. I just saw them both and I was immediately bored. But I did hear people saying that they were excited, that they couldn't wait to get their hands on it. And I took one look at their release photo and was like, pass. So for underrated, I would have to say the Smashbox Cali Face Palette. I feel like nobody is really talking about this, but honestly, in saying this, I feel like Smashbox as a brand is pretty quiet and underrated. I have a lot of their products, as you're gonna see on this list, because a lot of their products I think are fantastic, and I hear hardly anyone talking about this. But the Cali Face Palette, I really want to get it. I've been trying to talk myself out of it, but I still really want it because everything in that palette, I feel like I would use and get good use out of everything in that palette. It's just, I keep eyeing it. The packaging is really pretty as well. I've heard good things, like good reviews on the formulation and the quality of the powders inside. Yeah, it's on my loves list at Ulta. I keep side-eyeing it every time I go to make an order. Yeah, that one definitely seems a little underrated. Okay, so the next category is eyeshadow palettes. Overrated, this is easy, Hush palettes. Oh my goodness, those are pretty darn overrated. I'm gonna leave up here, I think here, I'm gonna leave linked my little video where I talk about Hush and their eyeshadow palettes. I did a haul with them and I've reviewed many of them in my monthly makeup review series recently, or over the past year. And I even talked about them in a brands I try to love but can't, but I just don't really like the quality of their eyeshadow palettes. Like, they're okay, but they're just not that great, if that makes sense. Like, everyone hypes it up like they are just so good and like they're really good dupes for the high-end counterpart. And while they are pretty good dupes for color, in my eyes, like, a good dupe is something that gets as close to the quality of the high-end as possible. And for me, like, some of them were just so hard to work with. I got frustrated, and yes, I know they're $10, but I'd rather go and spend $5 on a Wet n Wild palette that doesn't give me any of those issues than spend $10 or $15 on a Bad Habit Beauty palette that is going to give me issues. All that to say, I feel like Bad Habit Beauty is really overrated because their palettes are just so-so, and if you want better quality for cheaper, Wet n Wild, definitely their eyeshadow palettes are amazing. Okay, so then for underrated, I would have to say the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. I did a review for that as well. I'll leave that linked up here, or you know what, I'm going to have everything linked down below. If I have a review for anything that I'm mentioning in here, I'll leave it linked down below so you guys can click on and see the video or see the review on my blog, whatever the case is, because I don't want to spend too long talking here if I've already done a review on it. But that palette was just so good, and I feel like after the big hoopla of it coming out and everyone hyping it up and and reviewing it and using it and doing tutorials, nobody talks about it. But that palette is just so pretty. I've been thinking about it a lot. Yeah, I feel like nobody talks about it, and that palette was amazing, and in my eyes totally trumped the original Too Faced Chocolate Gold or Chocolate Bar palette, whatever it is. The Chocolate Gold palette is just so good. Alright, next is eyeshadow formula. Overrated, I feel like Urban Decay. Like Urban Decay, some of their palettes are very nice, but other ones are just not really that nice. Like their Naked palettes, I really don't like. I find them difficult to build up. I find the shimmers really lackluster. I just don't get the hype on that brand or that line from that brand at all. They're nothing amazing. I definitely have other brands that I feel like I like more, but I just feel like overall, like when you talk about eyeshadow palettes, everyone talks about the Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes, especially their Naked ones, which they're discontinuing their original Naked palette, and I think everyone's just like, and I'm just like, I never use mine anyway. But anyway, yeah, I just feel like the Urban Decay, especially the Naked line, is really overrated. And then for underrated, I would have to say the Colourpop Cosmetics Pro Palettes. I feel like, I'm always saying this, but I feel like they're very underrated. And especially in this day and age, I feel like they got a lot of hype like 3 years ago for being too powdery and having too much fallout. But I mean, in this day and age when people are trying to put so much pigment in their shadows and like ABH has a ton of fallout. Bad Habit Beauty has a ton of fallout. So I feel like Colourpop is honestly the same or even not as bad as some of the popular palettes on the market today. So I feel like people really can't knock Colourpop Pro palettes for having too much fallout, because I feel like every palette I've been using recently gives me a ton of fallout. Yeah, all that to say, I feel like the Pro palettes are just totally underrated. All right, next is eyeliner. Overrated, the NYX Epic Ink Liner. I'll leave that review down below as well, but oh my goodness, I don't like that liner. It ruined too many looks of mine for me ever to want to use it again, but I feel like everyone talks about how good that liner is. No thank you. And then for underrated, I feel like nobody talks about NYX's matte eyeliner. I have been using it. I've almost used up one full tube, and I have another one ready to go because I love it so much. It gives you a nice matte look to your wing liner, which I love. I forgot I used it today, so it's on my eyes today. But it's honestly not that hard to create a wing. I feel like I get a lot of control with the brush, even though it is a pretty long brush. I love it, and it's one that I don't want to be without in my collection. So I feel like that says volumes. But I don't think I hear anyone talking about that eyeliner. Everyone talks about the Epic Ink one, but the matte liquid liner is far better and easier to use than that Epic Ink one. Okay, next is mascara. For overrated, I honestly don't have one, and I was thinking hard about it. I did want to just name one, so I'm just going to leave that empty. I don't really have an overrated one. But for underrated, I feel like the Flower Beauty Lash Warrior Mascara is fantastic and really, really good. In fact, it reminds me so much of the Benefit Roller Lash that they're pretty darn close dupes, if not exact dupes in my eyes. So if you're wanting the Benefit Roller Lash Mascara, try the Flower Beauty one and see if that works for you and if you like that. Okay, foundation is next. Overrated, the Wet n Wild, I think it's Photo Focus foundation. It's their popular foundation that everyone seems to like, and I don't know, I don't think it's all that nice. Like, I feel like it just doesn't give a whole lot of coverage, and even the coverage it does give, I feel like whenever I would use it, I would have to work to cover the splotches. Like, it wouldn't give me even coverage. So I don't know. I just feel like that's a little overrated because I never have very good experiences when I did use it. And then whenever I think about using it, I'm like, I don't want to use it. But for underrated, the Bare Minerals Fresh Face Made to Fit foundation, I think is fantastic. I think I did mention it in a monthly makeup review, so I'll have that listed down below, but they sent it to me in my exact color, and it was really spot on. I thought it was fantastic. It's a nice and easy foundation. Like, if you don't want anything with extreme coverage, if you don't want anything super cakey, that's a great foundation, and I've used over half of the bottle, which I feel says a lot. But with all that said, I feel like nobody really talks about it, and maybe it's because you have to use an app to buy it or to like get your color, because you use your phone to figure out your exact color. So maybe that's why people aren't really talking about it, because you do have to kind of take that extra step to get their app, download it, get on it, and buy it. But either way, I still think it's definitely underrated and needs a lot more love. All right, next is primer. I really don't have, again, I'm not gonna just name a product, because for a primer, I really don't have one that I think is overrated. But underrated, I feel like the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer isn't really talked about much. And I wouldn't say it's the best mattifying primer I've ever used, but it is pretty darn good. Like, it works pretty well. I don't have too many complaints about it. But I feel like whenever anyone talks about the Rimmel brand, they don't really talk about the Stay Matte Primer or even the foundation, but especially not the primer. So I really feel like that one doesn't get a whole lot of love. Okay, then the next category is face palettes, but I'm not a big face palette person, so I'm not going to say over or under because I don't have a whole lot of experience with them. and none come to mind that I've had experience with that I was like, oh yeah, that's so overrated, it's just okay, or that's so underrated, like people need to talk about it more. So I'm gonna skip that, I'm sorry. Blush, for overrated, I feel like Tarte blushes are kind of overrated, and not to say that they're bad, but like everyone talks about them and how good they are. But I mean, in my experience, like, and maybe this is because I'm not like a blush fanatic, but in my experience, they're okay. They're lighter ones I feel like don't show up very well. I own 2 Tarte blushes only because they're like the super bright ones, so I don't have a lot of problem, you know, getting them to show up. But I don't know, I just feel like they're kind of overrated. And for blush, Lorac blushes are gorgeous. I love it. I feel like I talk about Lorac all the time, but I really feel like their blushes are stunning and so pigmented, so smooth, so buttery, goes on your cheeks so well, blends into your cheeks beautifully, makes it look just like your natural color. They're gorgeous, they're stunning. I highly recommend you check one out, and I do think I have a review for them, so I'll leave that link down below. Next up is highlighters. Overrated, I would say the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. I'm not a really big fan of that, mostly because like when I would use it, it doesn't really give that much of a highlight. It's just kind of overrated. Everyone talks about how amazing it is, and I guess if you have super dry skin, then it would be nice as a natural, you know, natural looking highlight. But for me, it's just like, why bother for that step? Because in an hour, I'll have that glow anyway. But for underrated, the Lorac highlighters are so pretty. Oh my goodness. If you are ever in a Ulta, go swatch one because it is so smooth. It's almost ridiculous how smooth it is. But yeah, I definitely feel like not enough people talk about the Lorac highlighters. Okay, we're almost done. Bullet lipsticks, overrated. I don't have an overrated one. I'm not a big lipstick person, so I couldn't think of one, so I'm not gonna name one. But for underrated, Smashbox Be Legendary lipsticks, they're little bullet lipsticks, so underrated. They are so nice, so good. I have a ton of lipsticks in that Be Legendary line, and everyone I've tried I've been very impressed with. So I definitely feel like they are so underrated. And then last up is liquid lipstick. Overrated, Colourpop Ultra Mattes. Those lipsticks were so hyped up, especially when they were first launched, but they go bad so quickly, it frustrates me. And not only that, but the packaging on the outside, like the writing, wears off the first time you put it in your purse. The quality of the product itself was just okay. It wasn't my favorite liquid lipstick. They were a little bit thicker, a little bit more drying, but they go bad so quickly. I mean, within 6 months, I feel like the ones that I purchased were separating, and then from then on out, it just kept getting worse. I just think they're very overhyped, and nobody really talks about the fact that they go bad so quickly. And then for underrated, I feel like the Pixi liquid lipsticks, I think they're called Matte Last liquid lipsticks. Those are really nice liquid lipsticks, and I know they just came out, but there was a little bit of like, oh look, these new lipsticks when they first launched, but now there's like nobody talks about them. But I find them to be really pretty, really comfortable. They look really nice on the lips. They don't accentuate the lines of my lips too much. They're not my favorite absolute out of like all the liquid lipsticks that I've tried, but they're definitely there at the top, and I feel like after the initial launch, nobody talks about it, and I really feel like they should because they're really nice. And there you have it. Those are my picks for underrated and overrated in all these categories. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed hearing my picks for overrated and underrated. Definitely let me know if you have any opinions for overrated and underrated in any of these categories or all of them. We can have a cool chat down below in the comments if you want to share those with me. Make sure you go check out Amy or DollyMamaBeauty. Her video will be linked down below in my description box. And if you're coming over from her channel, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you found it informative or entertaining, whatever the case may be, but thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I think that about wraps up this video. I'm gonna go feed a hungry little baby, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye guys.